I'm 28 years old and I'm divorced. On the day we signed the papers, both of us were surprisingly calm. There was no arguing, no shouting, not even tears. Everything went so smoothly that it felt almost terrifying. It was a kind of calm that comes only after every emotion has been exhausted. Inside the Civil Affairs Bureau, people were coming and going. Some couples were holding hands, smiling as they waited to get married. Others, like me, stood in the line for divorce, expressionless, silent. When I looked up at the red sign on the wall that read Marriage Registration Office, a sharp pain suddenly pierced my heart. 8 years ago, I stood in this very building, holding that bright red marriage certificate, smiling as I told him, "Let's stay together forever." And now, here I was again, ending the love we once believed would last a lifetime. When I finally got the divorce certificate, I didn't even take a second look. I just wanted to leave. All I wanted in that moment was to escape. As I walked quickly toward the exit, the wind stung my eyes. Suddenly, I heard hurried footsteps behind me. He caught up, grabbed my arm, his eyes red, his breathing uneven. "I'm sorry," he said softly. Just those 2 words. Then he lowered his head, trembling as he held back sobs. For a second, I almost softened. But a moment later, he let go, turned around, and ran away. I stood there, frozen in the hallway, tears streaming uncontrollably down my face. I walked and cried at the same time, sobbing so loudly that even I didn't recognize my own voice. From 20 to 28, we had been together for 8 years, 5 years of dating, 3 years of marriage. And in the end, we still went our separate ways. The beginning of the end. The reason for the divorce was cliché and cruelly ordinary. He cheated. It was November 2019, an ordinary evening. He was on another business trip. As I was cleaning the living room, I saw his tablet lying on the couch. We had been married for over 2 years, and I'd never thought about checking his private messages. But that night, for some reason, I had a strange feeling. I picked it up and opened it. It was synced to his phone's cloud backup. Within seconds, an audio file appeared on the screen, its title suggestive enough to make my heart sink. I tapped on it. It was a recording of him with another woman. Laughter, whispers, the sound of breathing. Those few minutes shattered every ounce of trust one had. I didn't sleep that night. I listened to every recording, one after another. Different dates, different hotels. One of them was even from Christmas Eve, our 2nd year of marriage. That day, he told me he had to attend a company meeting. I had spent hours cooking his favorite dishes, lighting candles, waiting all night for him to come home. The candles burned out, and I fell asleep on the couch. He was in another woman's arms. That night, I finally understood his frequent business trips, company expansion, client dinners. They were all just lies. His explanation. When I confronted him, he tried everything to deny it. He said it was a prank, a customer recording gone wrong. But when I played the recordings one by one, he went silent. "I don't love her," he said. "I just lost control. I just wanted to see what another woman was like. My love for you never changed. I thought if I handled it well, it wouldn't affect us." His tone was light, like he was talking about some trivial mistake. And in that moment, I realized how foolish I had been. He didn't love her. No, she was just there to satisfy his curiosity. And he didn't love me either. I was simply a habit, someone who was always there, a wife waiting at home. Love should never become a habit. Collapse and breakdown. After that, I locked myself in my room for 3 whole days. Curtains closed, phone off. I didn't eat, didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling all day and cried through the night. I kept asking myself, was I not pretty enough? Not gentle enough? Not exciting enough? Had I done something wrong? But later I realized, no matter how perfect you are, you can't make someone cherish you. He came to beg for forgiveness. He said he would change. But I knew some cracks can never be repaired. I refused him and went back to my parents' house. When my parents heard what had happened, they didn't blame me. They just stayed quietly by my side. My mother made the bed for me and gently patted my back. "Sleep for a while," she said softly. "When you wake up, everything will be better." But I couldn't sleep. That night, I cried until dawn. Aftermath. In the weeks that followed, my emotions were like a roller coaster. During the day, I could pretend to be calm. At night, I would break down completely. If I saw an intimate scene on TV, I'd immediately turn it off. The sound of a woman's laughter could make my whole body tremble. A doctor later diagnosed me with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I had to take sleeping pills just to fall asleep. He kept calling, saying, "Let's start over." But I never answered. I would stand by the window, watching him from behind the curtain as he stood downstairs waiting. Then he'd leave. I used to smash things out of anger, and sometimes I even hurt myself because the pain reminded me not to forgive. Because I knew if I forgave him once, he'd think it didn't matter. That being caught didn't have consequences. His consequences. Later, my ex-mother-in-law mentioned that he wasn't doing well either. He made constant mistakes at work, was almost fired, and had started drinking heavily. His father even hit him once. But by then I felt nothing, not joy, not pity. Just quiet acceptance. Maybe they finally understood what I had gone through. Maybe they realized some mistakes destroy everything. Freedom and rebirth. A year later, we officially signed the divorce papers. When he trembled as he signed his name, I felt an unexpected calm. That thin piece of paper didn't just end a marriage, it marked the start of my new life. When it came to splitting our property, I only took my car. We had no children, no strings left to tie us together. As I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau that day, I told myself, this time you start from zero. Now, it's been more than a year since the divorce. My life is finally back on track. I've learned to travel alone, eat alone, watch movies alone. I used to think I couldn't live without him. Now I know I can. Sometimes I still think of him, like now, when I write down my story. But most of the time, he's completely gone from my life. I threw away everything that reminded me of him. Changed my number. Deleted every photo. People sometimes ask me, "Do you regret it?" And I always answer, no. That marriage taught me how to be strong, how to love myself. And that's something I'll never regret. Because loving yourself is the beginning of everything. Because some endings are not tragedies, they're beginnings in disguise. The day I walked out of that building, the sun was blindingly bright. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "You're free now, and one day You'll be loved the way you deserve.